The atmosphere in the room is tense as Melania turns toward Jasmine with a sly grin, her eyes scanning the crowd. Her voice is smooth but laced with venom. I really have to ask, how did someone like you even get a seat here? She says, her tone dripping with mockery. I mean, surely you must realize how out of place you are, a woman like you, trying to discuss law when your so-called degree is laughable at best. She glances at the other faces in the room, waiting for the reactions, a smug expression on her face. Jasmine's face remains calm, but her eyes are sharp, like a predator watching its prey. The room goes silent as everyone waits for Jasmine's reaction. The tension is palpable. Melania leans back in her chair, crossing her arms as if she has already won the battle, completely confident in her ability to belittle Jasmine. But Jasmine doesn't flinch. She doesn't blink. She stares back at Melania, unbothered by the jab. Melania continues, her voice rising slightly. It's almost laughable, don't you think? You've spent years talking about your accomplishments, but what have you really done? What exactly qualifies you to sit here and lecture anyone? She punctuates her sentence with a condescending chuckle, relishing the moment. Jasmine shifts in her seat slightly, a tiny smirk playing on her lips. She's not fazed by the insults. Instead, she looks at Melania as if waiting for her to finish. She knows exactly what's coming next. Melania believes she's got the upper hand, but Jasmine knows better. She's about to prove it. Jasmine takes a slow, controlled breath, the intensity in the room rising as she sits up straighter in her chair. Her eyes, calm but determined, lock onto Melania's. The silence is thick as everyone waits for her response. Jasmine's voice, though soft, carries a weight that cuts through the tension like a knife. You think I'm unqualified? She begins, her words deliberate, each one landing like a well-aimed strike. You think you can belittle me with your words? I'm not some trophy wife to be dismissed, Melania. I've fought for everything I've earned. She leans forward slightly, her gaze never leaving Melania's. You want to talk about qualifications? Jasmine's voice rises, gaining strength with every syllable. Let's talk about what it really means to work for change, to make a difference. I didn't inherit my position. I earned it. She pauses for a moment, letting the words sink in before continuing, her expression firm, unwavering. I've stood up to the powerful, exposed the truth when no one else had the guts to. What have you done, Melania? Jasmine's words land like blows, each one forcing Melania to rethink her position. She doesn't flinch, doesn't back down, even as Melania's smug expression begins to waver. Jasmine's calmness is a sharp contrast to Melania's growing discomfort. The room feels the shift as Jasmine takes control of the conversation, her confidence undeniable. Melania's expression shifts, a flicker of doubt crossing her face. She takes a deep breath, regaining her composure. I'm not here for your self-righteous speeches, Jasmine. She snaps, her voice colder now, trying to regain control. What you don't understand is that there's a difference between fighting for change and making a spectacle of yourself. She leans forward, trying to impose her presence. You're just a flash in the pan, a media darling. You've had your moment, but now it's over. Jasmine doesn't flinch. Her eyes are unblinking as she watches Melania, waiting for her to finish. Her response is calm, but laced with an undeniable edge. You think it's a spectacle to stand up for what's right? You think it's a spectacle to demand justice? Maybe that's where we differ, Melania. I don't fight for the applause. I fight for the truth. The room holds its breath. the tension between them almost tangible. Jasmine's words hit harder than ever, and Melania's confidence is cracking. The fight for dominance is clear, and Jasmine is gaining ground. Melania can feel it. She's losing control. Jasmine's posture straightens, her voice growing louder with emotion, the force of her conviction impossible to ignore. I've spent years fighting for the voiceless, for the ones who never had a chance to speak for themselves, she says, her eyes burning with passion. And you, Melania, you stand here trying to silence me, trying to diminish everything I've fought for? She shakes her head slowly. I've had my battles, and I've won them. You think you can erase that with your words? Her words hit hard, each one a statement of resilience, of survival. She looks at Melania, her gaze unwavering. What have you done, Melania? All you've done is play dress up in a world of privilege, never once stepping into the shoes of those who truly need help. You don't know what it's like to fight for something that matters. You don't know what it's like to lose everything just to stand up for what's right. The emotion in her voice is palpable, and the room feels it. Jasmine is no longer just defending herself. She is attacking, taking the fight to Melania in a way that demands respect. Jasmine pauses, her gaze locking with Melania's, her eyes piercing through the tension in the room. For a brief moment, she lets the silence hang, allowing the weight of her words to settle. Then, with quiet determination, she begins again. You talk about my credentials, Melania, but you forget one thing. She leans in slightly, her voice steady and cold. I didn't get to where I am by pretending. I didn't get to where I am by relying on someone else's wealth or privilege. She takes a small step forward, her voice growing more resolute. I got here by standing up for people like you who don't understand the struggles of everyday Americans. I didn't rely on my last name or a marriage to push me forward. I fought for the people who need someone to stand beside them when the world turns its back. Jasmine pauses again, letting the finality of her words sink in. Remember, Melania, your wealth and your position don't mean a thing when it comes to making real change. It's your actions that define you. And right now, all I see is a woman trying to maintain her comfort at the expense of others. Her words are a direct challenge, a declaration that Melania's world of privilege is meaningless in the fight for justice. The room feels the shift. Jasmine is no longer on the defensive. She is dismantling Melania's entire narrative. Melania's composure begins to crack, the confident mask she had been wearing slipping. For the first time, there's a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. You think I've done nothing? She says, trying to regain control, but her voice trembles ever so slightly. You think you know my life, my struggles? She shakes her head, clearly frustrated, but there's a crack in her voice that wasn't there before. Jasmine, sensing the shift, doesn't back down. She doesn't take the bait. Instead, she calmly responds, I don't need to know everything about your life, Melania. I only need to know that you stand here trying to discredit me while pretending to be someone you're not. Jasmine's words are sharp, slicing through Melania's deflections like a hot knife through butter. You've never had to fight for what matters, not like I have, and that's the difference. Melania's face flushes slightly, and she tries to regain her usual arrogance, but the cracks in her facade are too obvious now. Her next words are forced, her tone defensive. You think you're better than me? She asks, though the question seems to hang in the air, lacking its usual force. Jasmine stands firm, her eyes steady, unwavering. No, Melania, I just think I'm doing what you never had the courage to do. Jasmine steps forward, her gaze unwavering as she delivers the next blow. You want to talk about privilege, Melania? She asks, her voice steady, but filled with the weight of what's to come. Let's talk about your secret meetings with the donor last year, the ones no one knows about. The words hit like a thunderclap, reverberating through the room. Melania's face goes pale, her composure cracking in an instant. She stumbles slightly, trying to gather herself, but the damage is done. The room falls deathly quiet as everyone processes what Jasmine has just revealed. Jasmine doesn't miss a beat. You thought your secrets were safe, didn't you? She continues, her voice firm. But the truth always comes out in the end. I know about your meetings, Melania, and I know exactly who you were meeting with. She pauses, letting the full impact of her words sink in before adding, You can keep trying to pretend you're just a victim in all of this, but I see the truth, and so does everyone else now. Melania's expression is a mix of shock and fear. She opens her mouth to respond, but no words come out. Her mind races, her carefully constructed image crumbling before her very eyes. Jasmine stands there, unbothered, her eyes never leaving Melania's. Melania takes a step back, trying to regain her composure. She clears her throat, her face a mask of forced confidence. That's just a lie, Jasmine, she says, though her voice wavers slightly. You don't know what you're talking about. Those meetings were nothing. She looks around the room, searching for support, but no one meets her gaze. Jasmine stands there, calm and unyielding, her eyes locking with Melania's. You think denial will save you? Jasmine asks, her voice low and cutting. The truth has already been exposed, and there's nothing you can do to take it back. She steps closer, her presence undeniable, her words making Melania feel small. You can keep pretending, but the world already knows who you really are. Melania attempts to speak, but her voice falters. Her usual arrogance is gone, replaced with uncertainty. Jasmine's calm demeanor is in stark contrast to Melania's growing panic. It's clear to everyone now, Jasmine is in control, and Melania is losing the battle. Jasmine stands tall, her presence dominating the room. She addresses Melania one last time, her voice cold and unrelenting. You've tried to tear me down with your lies and insults, but the truth is stronger than any of that. Her words are slow, measured, each one hitting with precision. You can keep pretending that you hold the power here, but the truth always prevails in the end. She steps even closer to Melania, her voice growing firmer. I've seen people like you come and go, relying on their wealth, their connections, their privilege, but none of that matters when the truth comes out. You've been exposed for who you really are, and there's no turning back now. Jasmine takes a step back, her gaze unwavering as she looks at the now broken Melania. Your empire is crumbling, and you're powerless to stop it. Melania opens her mouth, her lips trembling as she tries to form a response, but no words come out. She stands there, utterly speechless, her mind racing to catch up with the cascade of revelations that have just unfolded before her. The smug confidence she had once held so tightly to is completely gone, replaced by a haunting silence. Her usual eloquence has evaporated, leaving only a sense of vulnerability. Jasmine stands before her, unwavering, her presence overwhelming. The room watches in tense anticipation as Melania continues to struggle for a reply that won't come. Every attempt to speak falters, and with each failure, her credibility slips further away. Jasmine's calm gaze never wavers. She stands like a statue, resolute, knowing that the battle has already been won. For the first time in this confrontation, Melania is the one who is lost for words. The weight of the truth bears down on her, suffocating her attempts to regain control. Jasmine doesn't need to say anything more. The silence in the room speaks volumes, and the world can now clearly see who holds the power. With the room still silent, Jasmine steps back, her eyes never leaving Melania. Her voice cuts through the stillness like a razor. You may have thought you could silence me, but you've only exposed yourself. The words hang in the air, sharp and final. You've lost, Melania. The truth is out, and there's no hiding from it. Jasmine's words are simple, but they carry the weight of everything that has just unfolded. The tension that had filled the room now gives way to a quiet understanding. The battle is over, and Jasmine has emerged victorious. She doesn't need to rub it in. Her silence, her calm, says it all. Melania stands frozen, her expression a mixture of shock, fear, and resignation. She had once believed herself untouchable, but now she knows that the truth has shattered her image beyond repair. Jasmine doesn't look at her with triumph. She simply stands tall, a figure of unyielding strength. Her victory is not about crushing Melania. It's about the truth prevailing, no matter how much someone tries to hide it. The room is quiet. The battle is over. Jasmine stands tall, her head held high, while Melania remains frozen in shock. The truth has done its work. Jasmine doesn't say another word. Her presence is enough. Everyone in the room knows what just transpired. The power dynamic has shifted, and Jasmine is in control. Melania slowly turns, her steps heavy, her face a portrait of defeat. She knows the game is over, and nothing can restore what has been lost. The door swings open, and as she exits, her shoulders are slumped, her confidence shattered. The room stays silent, absorbing the weight of the moment. Jasmine doesn't watch her leave. Instead, she looks forward, her expression calm, a quiet strength radiating from her. She has won, not by force, but by the undeniable truth that no one can escape.